Hey, in this video, I want to show you how to label titration curves. So titration curves is a very important concept that you will definitely meet on your next exam or quiz. So it's very important to not only knowing which point's name, but it's also worth to knowing that why is that point called that way and how is the reaction changes state or forms in that exactly point. So in this video, this is the knowledge and this is the key terms that I'm gonna cover. So let's start by drawing our by label our names for the x-axis and y-axis. So the y-axis will typically be in pH. So this stands for the pH scale, and it's usually for the acid. Okay, and so for the x-axis, this will be the volume of the titrant. And from our last video, we know that the titrant, it just means the known solution that has been added to the lab, to the reaction. And this is all mostly for the base. Okay, so let me draw you a graph. I'm gonna draw actually starting with a very low pH, and then it looks like a hill, right? So we can know that from this, just from this curve simply by itself, it starts from a very low pH, which means it starts from a very acidic solution. Remember, the smaller the pH is, the more acidic the solution is, and it's been raised all the way till it reached a new pH scale, pH value, which is a lot more higher than the starting value, which means it has been added so many base that the whole solution has been more basic than the initial solution concentration. Okay, so by knowing that, we know that this point must be our initial concentration. And there's another 3 points that's very important, and the most important among these is the equivalence point, which is about halfway through the whole, like you can imagine this is a hill, like the half of the height of the hill, right? So this is going to be the equivalence point. So what does equivalence point do, and why is it called that way? So equivalence point is basically the point that the mole of the hydronium ions is equal to the mole of the hydroxide ions, which means that the mole of the acid is equal to the mole of the base. So really important concept in here. Make sure you understand it. And another point is in here. It's about halfway through this flat line, and this is called the halfway point. And I saw so many textbook or AP and IB test, they're using some other terms that interchangeably with the halfway point. And this point, and these terms will mostly be like midpoint and half equivalence point. And also ideal buffer. So I just want you to remember that these terms that is very common, like you see them on your test, just don't be afraid of them. They're all means the same thing. They're all means this point, okay? So what does halfway point do? So halfway point basically means the pH is equal to pKa right here. And also the concentration of acid is equal to the concentration of the base. And by definition, we know that the halfway point, it must be like a half something. Well, what is that thing? Well, it's to be a half volume of titrant to equivalence. So it's gonna be half volume of titrant to equivalence. Okay, so remember, like this term, very important that you see it on your quizzes or exam. Another, like the last but not least point, is about right here. This is gonna be the end point. So endpoint means using an indicator and the reaction has been changed the color. So when you're in the lab, you're working with it, whenever you see that the solution has been changed color, you know the whole reaction has been reached the endpoint. Okay, so yeah, so these are the 3 most important points that the quizzes or exam will definitely asking you to label them and identify them and know which point is doing what. Okay, so this is the most important part. Yeah, and so as I said at the beginning of the video, this is a curve that's showing it starts with a very acidic solution to a very basic solution, and we can also do that in the flip side. So we can start with a very basic solution and all the way go down to a very acidic solution, which means what? Which means the solution starting with a basic solution, but in the lab, we are continually adding more acid into it, which should lower down its pH and then finally let it be very acidic. Okay, and so the whole things is the same. So I'm not gonna label them again, but I just want you to know, like, the for example, the x-axis will still be pH and the y-axis will still be the volume. But however, just in this time, it's gonna be strong acid volume, and we're starting with a weak base, right? Weak base, and all the way go down, and like the equivalence point, halfway point, end point, it's all the same. Okay, nothing changes, but it just except the direction of the curve. Okay, so yeah, so I think like the titration curve is also a very interesting concept for me. It's a very fun activity, like for you for me just to label all of the key concepts down and be able to understand them visually. I think I'm a more visual person, so titration curve is more fun to me, and I also hope that it's fun to you, and I hope this video helps. If you like my video, please subscribe and leave some comments below. I would like to hear your thoughts, and I hope you have a great day. You're doing great.